Sinai, a land shaped by silence, time, and heat. A peninsula caught between two continents, two seas, and thousands of years of movement. From prophets to pharaohs, pilgrims to nomads. This place has seen empires rise and fall, and yet it never tries to impress you. It just exists, dry, harsh, unapologetically still. You don't come here for comfort. You come here to feel small, to walk through valleys carved by wind and water long before humans showed up with cameras and camel jokes. This isn't Egypt's Instagram side. It's bone-deep, sun-scorched core. But give Sinai time, and it reveals itself slowly. In the tea, in the stars, in the silence that somehow says more than a guidebook ever could. It's days of dust, depth, and discovery. Welcome to the Sinai Peninsula. Yo, what's up? It's the Frisco Roamer. This ain't no Instagram wanderlust ad where somebody does yoga on a sand dune at sunrise. Nah, this is Sinai. Egypt's wild desert, dives, camels, slot canyons. Basically, less eat, pray, love, more eat, pray, hope your camera survives. Welcome to my Sinai trip. Let's go. 40 minutes in, boom, car breaks down. Normally that hella sucks, but Sinai's night skies are stupid doo-doo dumb clear. So we arrive in Dahab, and man, this place had me tripping, but in a good way. Basically the Oakland to Sharm, San Francisco. A backpacker's paradise. Picture seafood joints all over, shisha smoke floating in the air. We were out here for 7 days. I'm not savage enough to walk into the desert alone. I did 2 dives, 3 days in Dahab, and a 4-day Sinai desert trek. I went through desert divers to plan this trip, and I have no complaints. Total cost was $575 USD. We stayed at Sinbad's right across the water, a diver spot with shared bathrooms and naturally gluten-free options. What really had me cracking up though? The Euros, man. I swear they're on a different time zone. I'm shooting at sunrise and there's already a pack of them doing yoga poses like they're auditioning for the Lululemon catalog. Sun salutations with the Red Sea in the background while I'm over here trying to get shots without them. And it's not just the tourists. Dahab's like this big cultural blender. You got Egyptians from all over who came to work, the dive shops, the restaurants, the hostels. So you're hearing every accent you can imagine. Cairo dudes hustling tours, Alexandrians running seafood joints, Bedouins offering camel treks, and then throwing the foreigners, Europeans, Aussies, Americans, random digital nomads, basically anyone with a laptop and a dream who wanted cheap rent and Wi-Fi by the beach. But the main draw, the water. This is the holy land for divers. The Blue Hole's right here. It's one of the most famous dive spots on earth. It's beautiful, but also kind of deadly, like this place has a rep. Free divers love it. Scuba people come here to tick it off the list. And yeah, it takes some lives too. They don't call it the diver cemetery for nothing. That's the kind of tourist attraction you brag about after surviving. And if you're not into diving, Dahab's still a flex. Snorkeling straight off the beach, windsurfing, kite surfing. Basically, if it involves water and looking cooler than you really are, Dahab's the spot. Nighttime's a whole other vibe. Restaurants packed, seafood platters that could feed a small village, and every cafe packed with travelers arguing about who's the real backpacker. So yeah, Dahab hits different. It's loud, it's laid back, it's chaotic, but in that perfect way. A melting pot of Egyptians, foreigners, beach bums, and wannabe yogis. Honestly, it might be the first place in Egypt where you feel like the foreigners outnumber the locals. And if you're trying to meet people, eat good seafood, or just roast some Europeans doing downward dog at sunrise, this is the spot.
What do we got here? What we got?
Red grouper.
Red grouper.
Grouper. The black one. Also there is white snapper.
Okay.
Sea bass.
We got some sea bass up there. That's what's up.
Dorada.
Nice.
Morgan.
We got shrimp.
Lobster. Shrimp.
We got the big ass lobster.
Blue crab.
Oh, the blue crab. Nice.
Calamari.
Calamari. Got it all.
All right, here we have the Red Cat restaurant, and guess what?
Gluten-free vegan dishes, and they can make all their pizzas gluten-free. So check it out. It's good.
I'm very sorry.
What's up?
It's very dangerous for you to walk from here without trying my sugar-free fresh juice. Today, 9 a.m. in the morning, they just announced it in the New York Times Square that no, like 3 big no's, no happy Mondays without trying Ice to Meet You sugar-free fresh juice. Ice to meet you, love at first, thirst.
That's what's up.
Buddy.
That's what's up.
Oh, because loving yourself is very related, you know, with being like not stressed or relieved. So that's why you should start your day with the lemon mint plus coconut milk and unconditional love from Ice to Me.
And what is the message of the day?
Your message is better days are fucking coming. You're the luckiest.
Hell yeah. Where are we at? Where are we at right now?
In heaven. But you will be at this like for real after taking the first step of this, you know, because this will gonna make you feel like Havana Unana, half of my heart is in Havana Ulala.
All right.
You should drink it like very, very, very slow because slowly is the fastest way to get wherever you want to be. Here you go, brother.
What's up? I just met my homies out here, the 3 youngsters. Where are you guys from?
We're from
Cairo.
Okay, what do you want to tell people about Egypt?
Like, everyone should visit Egypt. It's a very good place. It's not just about the culture and the history. It's about the people. You know, everyone is friendly.
That's right.
Don't get scammed.
Don't get
You
scammed.
guys have for sure to try the $1 fresh juice from Ice to Meet You. You should give yourself this experience because you were doing a lot the past year and you deserve to celebrate yourself. So
Good.
please,
Best juice in Dahab. Better
Yeah.
things are fucking coming.
Yeah, better things are fucking coming. Where are we at right now?
We're in Dahab in Egypt. You know?
What's the best place in Egypt in your opinion?
my home.
Okay, his home. So you want to go holler at him? What about you?
It's every place in Egypt is good, but I really like Dahab. You know.
Dahab, what about you?
Sharm el-Sheikh.
Okay. All right, thanhanks fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's right. I still got some time left in Egypt.
We did 2 dives in Dahab, and listen, the Red Sea isn't just hype. It's got over 1,200 fish species, and like 14% of them only live here. It's basically the supreme store of fish. You either find it here or nowhere. The first dive was the lighthouse. Short entry, tons of beginners, like underwater bumper-to-bumper traffic. Second dive nearby, better coral, lionfish, a couple of eels, felt more legit. After 4 years out of the water, just strapping the tank back on felt like leveling up in real life. It was good. It was all right. It was all right. Not the blue hole, but it was all right. And then came the main event. 4 days trekking Sinai with Bedouins, camels, and plot twist, a random Lithuanian couple. At first I thought, cool, 4 days of awkward silence. Turns out they were ex-ravers with better music taste than any youngster I met in the past decade. Shout out Lithuania, you did your thing. Now they were only around for 1 day, but we did meet up again back in Dahab. So now we met our desert guide, Frag. Absolute unit of a man. Wears sandals, sips tea like it's a job. He told us no shower, no toilets, just sand, fire, and vibes. Most desert guys around Dahab come from the Muzina Bedouin tribe, who've navigated this region for centuries. This isn't a hiking trail. They've been walking these routes since before the alphabet. First stop, real Bedouin life, not the Disneyland kind. Handmade bracelets, goats that don't blink, and kids that hike better than you. Respect the rules here. Don't film women, period. Bedouin women usually avoid cameras for religious and cultural reasons. Don't be that tourist. Then it's 4x4 time, riding across sand like it owes you money. The Jeep sounded like it had 20 minutes to live. First stop, little canyon that merges into a slot canyon. Little tight, but good times.
Yeah, this is something special. For some people with overweight, it's a problem.
Oh, most definitely. Second stop, Double Canyon. Here you're squeezing through rock walls like a dehydrated raccoon.
All right, this is what we're dealing with. Not gonna take out my gimbal, but yeah, this is what we're dealing with right now. A lot of this.
Greg was like, don't bring your backpack, too narrow. And I'm like, nah, I got this. Spoiler alert, I did not have this.
You just let it slide, doesn't matter. And you grab something.
You have a nice video. Awesome. Send for ma'am.
Ended up yeeting my bag thousands of dollars worth of gear off a 20-30 foot drop. Gear survived, my pride didn't. The canyon's carved from sandstone that's over 500 million years old, all shaped by erosion and flash floods. Real ancient stuff. Young Yusuf with his sandals was killing this canyon, like he was just mashing, dude. Now you're deep in the game. Wake up to Bedouin tea harder than God's anger, bread cooked in sand, camel sneezing somewhere in the distance. Tea's brewed with desert herbs. Bedouins drink it all day, good for digestion and heat resistance. The ash-baked bread is called fatir, and yeah, it's literally baked in coals and dirt. Days blur, sand, rocks, hike, repeat. You rest under boulders like they're 5-star resorts, eat lunch in silence, maybe see a jerboa do push-ups. That's the wildlife show. Sinai's desert wildlife includes jerboas, foxes, and over 20 kinds of lizards. Most pop out at night when it's not hot enough to boil an egg on a rock. Golden hour hits different out here. Evenings are slow, quiet, weirdly emotional. You sleep like a rock, on a rock. You finally arrive at the oasis, and yeah, it ain't fancy, but compared to sleeping on sand for a week, it's a fucking Ritz. You got cushions, shade, you're not crying yourself to sleep at night. Oases like this are sustained by underground water tables and have been used as rest stops by nomads and pilgrims for millennia. Most grow date palms and herbs used in traditional medicine.
What type of writing is this?
Some Syrianic, some Latini.
Latini?
Latin.
Oh, Latin.
Yes.
And how long ago?
Oh,
Many, many moons.
Last day in the desert. Time for the boss level, Mount Sinai. By tradition, this is where Moses got the 10 Commandments. Standing there, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. I too would climb a mountain just to get Wi-Fi with God. The mountain's about 2,285 meters, or 7,500 feet. Not Everest, but your calves will file a complaint. At the base is St. Catherine's Monastery, built in the 500s, one of the oldest Christian monasteries still running. They've got the famous burning bush, the UNESCO stamp, and a library of manuscripts older than your favorite conspiracy theories. The hike itself, my guide hyped it up like it was Everest or something. I blasted up, skipped all the overpriced water stalls like a broke king, and made it in one push. The summit's got a small chapel, some stone windbreaks, and one dude casually smoking like he just conquered life. Coming down, well, if you watch my videos, I don't like going down. Way worse, gravity doesn't play fair. Cheer. That was Sinai. Red Sea dives, desert treks, camels, slot canyons, Moses Mountain, and a rave history lesson from Lithuania. This trip gave me everything. Stress.
I don't even know where the others went because I've been taking pictures. We're just wandering. Egypt's dope. If you get a chance to come out here, you need to come check it out. You need a peep game. I hope I can find them. I have no idea where they're at. Maybe they're down here. Okay, yeah, they're down.
Beauty, danger, laughter, and some friendships I didn't see coming.
Check it out. Out of the cuts, our animal companion, the black dog, just came from the other side. It's just, that's what makes this trip so cool, is I've had a bunch of animal companions, like kind of leading the way or like coming out of the cuts. Super cool.
If you're still here, you either love Egypt or you're avoiding your responsibilities. Either way, smash that like, hit subscribe, and drop a comment if you survived in the desert without Wi-Fi. You know I did. Peace, and keep being curious.
And how do they eat this? There's some thorns. They're hella sharp. Camels have some really good adaptations. Damn.